Oh, hi, I didn't see you there. Oh, part two. Part two is going to be the best part. The best part. After part one, of course. My brothers were considerably younger than myself, but I had a friend and one of my schoolfellows who compensated for this deficiency. Henry Clerval was the son of a merchant of Geneva, an intimate friend of my father, who was a boy of he was a boy of singular talent and fancy. I remember when I was 9 years old, he wrote a fairy tale, which was the delight and amazement of all his companions. Damn, he was so good. His favorite study consisted in books of chivalry and romance. And when very young, I can remember that we used to act plays. We used to act plays composed by him out of these favorite books. Composed, like directed. Get what I mean? The principal characters of which were Orlando, Robin Hood, Amade, Amad, Ama, Am, Ama, Amadis, and St. George. Yet, no youth could have passed more happily than mine. My parents were indulgent, and my companions amiable. Our parents read that line already. No, I read that line already. Our studies were never forced, and by some means, we always had an end placed in view. By some always means, which excited us to adar in the prosecution of them. Adar in the prosecution. It was by this method and not excuse me. It was by this method that adar you do. It was by this method and not by emulation, that's the word, that we were urged to application. What the fuck? I am not getting words from back then. It was by this method and not by emulation that we were urged to application. As long as you don't appropriation. Because globalization, nation-fashion, lagoo. Anyway, I'm sure everyone else knows what it is and I don't, so I'll look it up later. So application. Elizabeth was not incited to apply herself to drawing, and that her companions might not outstrip her, but through the desire of pleasing her aunt by the repetition of some favorite scene done by her own hands. We learned Latin and English that we might read the writings of those languages. And so far from study being made odious to us by punishment, we loved application. Loved application. I like application too. And our amusement had been the labors of other children. Perhaps, perhaps we did not read so many books or learn languages so quickly as those who were disciplined according to the ordinary methods. But what we learned was impressed the more deeply in our memories. In this description of our domestic circle, I, including Henry Clerval, for he was almost constantly with us. He went to school with me and generally passed the afternoon at our house, for being an only child and destitute of companions at home. His father was well pleased that he should find associates at our house, and we were never completely happy when Clerval was absent. Isn't that fantastic? I feel pleasure in dwelling on the recollection of childhood before before misfortune had tainted my mind and changed its bright visions of extensive usefulness into gloomy and narrow reflection upon self. But in drawing the picture of my early days, I must not omit to record those events which led by incessant steps to my after tale of misery, for when I would account to myself for the birth of that passion, which afterwards ruled my destiny, I find it arose like a mountain river from ignoble and almost forgettable sources, but swelling as it proceeded, it became the torrent which in its course has swept away all my hopes and joys. Natural philosophy is the genius that has regulated my fate. I desire, therefore, in this narration, to state those facts which led to my predilection for that science. Predilection for that science. Predilection. Shut the fuck up. When I was 13 years of age, we all went to a party of pleasure to the baths near Dunn. The inclemency, like inclement weather, but inclemency of the weather obliged us to remain a day confined in the inn. Wow, that's amazing. That's just superb. In this house, I chanced to find a volume of the works of Cornelius Agrippa. I opened it with apathy. The theory which he attempts to demonstrate and the wonderful facts which he relates soon changed this feeling into enthusiasm. A new light seemed to dawn upon my mind, and, bounding with joy, I communicated my discovery to my father. I cannot help remarking here the many opportunities instructors possess of directing the attention of their pupils to useful knowledge, which they utterly neglect. My father looked carefully at the title page of my book and said, "Ah, Cornelius Agrippa. My dear Victor, do not waste your time upon this. It is sad trash. Ya fuck. Go throw it away. Where the fuck did you get this, you piece of fucking shit? Stupid fucking idiot. Agrippa? Really? Literally, Cornelius Agrippa. Fuck you." If instead of this remark my father had taken the pains to explain to me that the principles of Agrippa had been entirely exploded, and that a modern system of science had been introduced, and which possessed much greater powers than the ancient, but because the powers of the later were chimerical, while those of the former were real and practical. Under such circumstances, I should certainly have thrown Agrippa aside, and with my imagination warmed as it was, should probably have applied myself to the more rational theory of chemistry. Chemistry! Wow, I am an idiot. Which has resulted from modern discoveries. It is even possible that the train of my ideas would never have received the fatal impulse that led to my ruin. But the cursory glance at my father had taken of my volume by no means assured me that he was acquainted with its contents. And I continued to read with the greatest avidity. Whoa, boy, how much more? We got 3 more pages? All right, let's make this a part 3. Holy avidity. Because part 2 was just so ecstatic and enlightening, and it just happened to hit here, so hard here in the bones. Okay?